okay? Meaning that the pneumonia that I have, it's somehow is affecting the voice, but it does not, the sound of voice does not necessarily reflect the feeling that I have, okay? So it could be, I could have, strength, but my voice is kind of weak for some reason. Again, خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. And insan was created in weakness. The khatira that Brother Muhammad gave today is connected to the khutbah that Amir gave yesterday, okay, which is how an insan is living in a perception. Once we stay away from the remembrance of Allah, then the connection to the results that's around us that we could do and so forth is a false connection once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is out of this equation. Amir yesterday was talking about Qarun and how he eventually said it clearly that أوتيته على علم عندي. I was given this here, the wealth that I have, because of a knowledge that I acquired. Knowledge that I acquired, okay? So I reached that ability to have all of this wealth because of a knowledge that I worked hard for and I was able to acquire. And so nobody else has that knowledge, and therefore nobody else has that wealth, okay? And nobody else will get my wealth, right? So, but then when he goes to sleep, what happened? Okay, he goes to sleep in an area that's very specific on the earth, at a time very specific, with his body has a need that it was given, right? So if his body is not, does not get just any kind of a degree or any degree less than what he needs, he will not be able to go to sleep. And he will not have the knowledge to acquire and get that which can make him comfortable and go to sleep, right? So the issue here will not be a wealth. The issue here will be being able to rest, right? And I'm thinking about that out of the experience, that we all have every once in a while, but we tend to forget, right? When you really get sick and, you don't know what to do, okay? And so you know that this health will be given to you. In other words, go ahead, you are so clever, go ahead, reach that level of health so you could close your eyes and go to sleep. So where do you get that from? How are you going to get that? And you see like experts coming and going, right? Blood's being drawn, and looking at it and seeing, so why is this happening? Why is that happening, right? And that is, it is only tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in a beautiful way, when the da' matches with the dawa, okay, or with the dawa matches with the da', then Allah will bring the shifa, okay? So you have a da', you have a sickness, and there is a dawa, there is a cure for it or a medicine for it. Rasulullah ﷺ said, there is no da except has a dawa. Allah, the creation of the da, has a matching of a creation of a dawa. Okay? Except one da, which is al-haram, meaning getting old. There is no dawa for that. Okay? So now you have experts, you have many people looking at the da, diagnosing at the da. Try and look for the dawa. Okay? And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala matches the dawa with the da, then the cure arrives. Okay, so when will this happen? How will this happen? And so forth. We don't know. It is allowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is taught us to make dua saying, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa. I seek refuge with you, Allah, from a knowledge that's not beneficial. Right? In other words, you can exert efforts and try to acquire knowledge here and there, and there's no need for that knowledge. It's not something that is beneficial. In other words, there is knowledge that when you acquire it, it does not bring you any benefit. And when you do not have it, it does not bring you any harm. Therefore, it is insignificant. Okay? And وَمِن نَفْسٍ لَا تَشْبَعْ. The nafs that does not shaba'. What is shaba'? Shaba' is someone who's shab'anu. He reaches a level of satisfaction. You keep eating and eating until you reach a level you cannot eat anymore because you are shab'an. Okay? So the nafs is acquiring things, but it is not physical, right? So you cannot physically see that you fill it up to some degree and say you cannot hold it anymore. No, because it can say I am not satisfied, right? And then you change now what you acquiring now. What you're trying to acquire to get satisfaction, to become shab'an. Okay? So instead of you wanted this, now you want that. And you keep like this, but that satisfaction is not there. So you change the item you are trying to consume. Okay? Again, it's not physical, right? And it could be physical, right? Like if I'm going to have a mountain of gold, then I'm going to be satisfied. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, if mankind is given a mountain of gold, he'll ask for another one. Okay? And then, but he will not be satisfied until dust is filling him, meaning death. When death comes, meaning you're under the grave, in the grave, under the dust, now that's going to fill you. Okay? So, just the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of saying I'm satisfied or feeling you're satisfied, okay, with what what a little you have, or not much, or whatever degree it is, and you reach a point saying there's no desire for this, but the best of desire is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala desires for us, right? So there is a relationship that could never reach a peak at all, okay? And so little seeker for it, which is the relationship of Allah, because what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving does not have an end. Okay? And it's all beneficial. It's all beneficial. So that relationship, you can have greed in it. You can be greedy in wanting more. and more closeness to Allah. Okay, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more, will bring you closer and closer. That is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Rasulullah sallallahu وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى, that Allah your Lord will give you until you are satisfied. Okay, then what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say when this ayah was revealed? I will not be satisfied until. So here is a decision Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making. He's saying his desire. I will not be satisfied until my ummah is in Jannah. Okay. Until my ummah is saved. So was not for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, but it is for his ummah, the love that he has for ummah. So it is nafs that's لا تشبع وعلم لا ينفع. Okay? And a dua that is not acceptable or will not be responded to. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is seeking refuge from this. Example of that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying a man will be coming and he is he ate from haram, his clothes is from haram. In other words, he's an embodiment of haram, right? Imagine the clothes that you have, bought it from haram, the food that you eat is from haram. Therefore, your body itself is your very cell of your body is grown from haram, right? Then he's making dua. So how his dua is going to be accepted? If the haram is in haram and haram, and now you are coming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are coming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now when you are in difficulties, when you are in need, right? But at the time of easiness, he did not mind to indulge in haram, right? That you did not mind that at all. So when it's the time to receive, you have no problem at all, okay? But when it's time to exert an effort and to give, meaning to do that which is right, then that was, difficult for you to do. Okay? وَمِن دُعَاءٍ لَا يُسْمَعُ, a dua that is not responded to. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من قلب ومن قلب لا يخشى, and from a heart that does not reach khushu'. Okay, and again, what is khushu'? Okay, الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. Then those who are certain in the meeting of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they will go back to Him. That is the qalb that has khushu', the nafs that has khushu'. Okay? So when we do not have khushu', that means we're not remembering the time we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So again, all of this, will be, you want to put a title on top of it, will be سمعنا وأطعنا. Okay? غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. Right? We hear, we obey. Please, we're trying to obey, but we're going to have faults. We are human beings, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us that way. Created us as a human being like this, capable of making mistakes like this. Okay? لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. So do not, punish us. Something that you created us. How you created us, you're going to punish us because it's how we are, but we're trying to do the best. So فَاغْفِرْ لَنَا. Okay. Yeah, so the maghfirah is what we need. So we're trying to do the best that we can. And the only one that measures this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did you try to do the best you can or not? Simple as that. Okay? And you can now give a lip service and give a lie, but the reality is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how sincere you were. Okay? How much effort you gave, and how much effort you could have given and you did not give. Right? So someone comes with so much, okay, but it is going to be looked at as something it's not very significant. Somebody will come with so little, but it's going to be very significant because it depends on the efforts that was put behind it. And it's all known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that internal action between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be looking at. That's as simple as that. Okay, how much effort you exerted in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to try to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he who loves to meet Allah, Allah will love to meet him. And he who hates to meet Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates to meet him. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Please, if you want to make any comments or say anything, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. I feel there is a lot of us here today. I hear.
Continue with the surah today or no?
No.
Okay.
No. How are you, Amir?
Alhamdulillah.
You want to add on to your khutbah yesterday?
Well, yeah, I guess. No, alhamdulillah, it's this khutbah, or actually it was a series of khutbah. It was the third and the last one. The whole point was to reflect upon this issue that is both an inter issue and intra issue. So issue within ourselves and issue within each other as a society as a whole. We have that collectively as well. And usually when I try to ponder over ayat and try to internalize them so I do not make any mistakes in the khutbah, I can't help but reflect upon my own self and my own situation. I guess probably in the back of my mind or there's some quarreling going on within me. And I've been very at unrest in the past 3 weeks or so. Maybe I'm too angry at myself in some ways because I'm affected by the issue as well. And how can you advise about something that you are the victim of yourself? I mean, you are deliberately doing it and you're not able to help yourself in it. How do you give that message? But anyways, as Sheikh was explaining, we are people who make mistakes. We are the creatures who make mistakes. So we accept that part of ourselves as well. But we work on the part of ourselves which make effort. We are also the creatures who make effort. So that's the other side of the half. That's the other side of the balance. So the issue of deflection was very important to me, and this is something I thought of that I need to be very mindful about. The issue of deflection is when Qarun was asked, not asked but advised, what was his response? No guilty, nothing. He immediately defended himself. Right? I have this because I know. There are two aspects to it. First, the issue of I have the intellect, and because of that intellect, I am something or I deserve something. Right? The second issue is not addressing the issue itself. So deflection. And in deflection, human beings are very good at deflection. Very good at deflection. Even if we don't know anything, since we're young, very young, we know how to deflect. And that is one of the things that there's a big harm to ourselves, not even just in our social development and emotional development, but also in life in so many different things. When we start deflecting, when we are faced with issues or or dilemmas, then what we do is we shut the issue off. So we shut the opposition or criticism off, and we become now we become two things: ungrateful, and also there's some sense of pride because you deny what you're doing. So there's so much going on in that, so much going on within that deflection and not realizing that you have an issue. So usually the wise ones, what do they say? Whenever you make a mistake, please accept it first. When you go in therapy, what do they say? Whatever situation you went through or whatever you did, first accept it. You need to accept, face the reality. If you don't do that, other harms are going to come. So that was one thing that I myself need to be very mindful. Second of all, the bigger question, the result, the symptom of all of this argument and all of this pondering, are we grateful or not? Am I grateful or not? Or am I ungrateful? And that is something scary. You know, my entire routine of the day, there's so many things that you want to, you do this, you do that, you think about this, you think about that. Is my attitude or an attitude of being grateful or ungrateful? Am I truly, see, I understand, we understand that we cannot be completely, fully grateful the way we should be. It's impossible for us because of the karam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so much. You can't really match it. It's impossible. But are we actually making the effort, as the Sheikh was saying? Are we actually making that effort? So these are, I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much. But these scary questions that often I ask myself, am I being grateful enough, properly grateful, not enough, but properly, appropriately grateful, or am I being ungrateful? If I'm not really super duper, I mean, even if I lack in the grateful department, I should never be ungrateful. How does one become ungrateful? By losing humility. When you find yourself that there is some coldness in you, some rudeness in you, tap it, find out what's causing it. Usually there's some form of pride and ungratefulness. So I guess a lot of introspection and a lot of thought, work within oneself and work within ourselves as a community as well. Muslimin should not have this problem. Because the other thing about the khutbah, I took this khutbah from the Maulvi Khan, and one of the other thing he was trying to address was, if Muslimin are going to pursue the word and whatever is in it, are going to be concerned with the word and whatever is in it, then what is the difference between a believer and a disbeliever? Now we become a fitna on the disbeliever. How? Because we're not showing them the good side of our being. If we are only going to be, if we are people who are by name Muslims, but by our attitude towards life, not showing that, not showing the zuhud maybe, the kind of disconnection with the word. In a way, if we are not doing that, we're pursuing the word, and showing off and this and that, my wealth, and I am because of what I know, and I because of what I do. My efforts brought me to this point. I achieved because of what I did. If we are going to fall into that kind of paradigm, then what's the difference between us and any disbeliever, anybody else? Then we're doing dhulm because we're not giving the right to our deen the way it should be given. So then we become the test on them. So Muslims should not do that, and that is probably one of the significances of the story of Qarun was people, he belonged to the group of people who were believers, people of Musa. So this is not Fir'aun, really. If somebody like that does it, it angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. because our role should be of believers, and there's a lot of responsibility on us because of the al-haq that we chose to carry, or we asked for that responsibility. So that's all I had. It's quite a brain dump. I'm sorry.
Jazakumullah khair.
I'm unloading a lot. I don't know. This is my silence.
Jazakumullah khair. Jazakumullah khair. Akhuna Ibrahim. Alaikum assalam. Welcome back.
Good to see you
Welcome
here.
back. Yeah, how
Missed
you?
you. I missed you, really.
Yeah.
Missed you all also.
Yeah.
Missed you all.
So, just what is the word of wisdom from a journey back home for a month? I was worried about you.
Yes, yes.
I was really worried about you.
Thank you.
Mm.
It was nice.
Uh-huh.
It was very, very nice, excellent experience. Being with the loved ones, with the relatives, with brothers and sisters, nephews and nieces, very, very, very good experience. I'm glad I made that trip. That all that was, fondness that you have, love that you have, that for your relatives, has been by seeing them that they are well, they are good, that you are really happy with them, and you're satisfied. Yes, yes. So alhamdulillah, that was a very nice experience.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talk. Go ahead, brother Ibrahim. Oh, jazakallah khair. Atik.
So how easy is it for somebody to visit with you?
How easy?
Or how difficult?
It is easy. It's easy, for anyone to do it now. All you need is just a visa, that's all.
Okay,
And you will be given a visa as soon as you arrive at the airport.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe inshallah someday I want to visit Africa and go,
Yeah.
Is that
Ethiopia or Eritrea?
Eritrea used to be part of Ethiopia,
Yes,
and now it has its own government.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Where did you go?
Ethiopia,
Ethiopia.
it's the southeastern part of Ethiopia.
Addis Ababa?
Addis Ababa is the capital city.
Okay,
I stayed there for about 1 day to have my COVID test.
okay.
And then he went to Addis Ababa.
The entire time I spent was in the city called Harar, where I was born.
You were born in Harar.
Yes, yes.
MashaAllah.
Yes. In Harar. And it's a very historical city, majority Muslims and everything. So alhamdulillah, it was very, very
So what was it about the sun?
Oh, I don't know. I happened to see it, It was a very nice scene, wallahi. I haven't seen it, sun behaving like that.
Mhm.
So the sun at the center and around it is a black cloud. And
Mm.
then around the black cloud are a bright color, yellowish kind, color also around it. And then when the sun moves, everything moves with it, without being disintegrated, everything moves with that. It happened like that for about a couple of hours, and then after that, it phased out.
And no one in the media or anything there, or anybody that says anything about it, or?
I was not listening to I didn't have any access to the media. I wasn't
MashaAllah.
listening to it. I wasn't interested.
You were
MashaAllah.
really on vacation.
Oh, yeah, right. So then I was making a research and I found the NASA have such an event happened in the past. So they have this scientific explanation as to why that was,
Mhm.
but for me, looking at that, observing it, it was amazing, that phenomenon that happened.
It's not an eclipse or anything like
It's
that.
not an eclipse.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
They also said that it will have not only in the sun, but it will happen for the in the moon at night also.
Mm.
Yeah. Subhanallah. Yudabbiru al-amra, you know, he is in charge. Allah is in charge. He does what he likes to do, and he is, you know, the manager of what's
Yeah.
happening in this world. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
And I sometimes like to think and I phrase it in a way that, you know, when
Yes.
the painter paints,
Yes. Exactly that. Yeah.
he's the master painter.
Yes. كل يوم هو في شأن, you know, whatever happens. If a leaf falls somewhere in Amazon, he knows about it,
Yeah.
you know, so.
And it's
So-
amazing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, I'm always perplexed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wisdom in all that He does. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He did not create anything in play.
Mm.
So
Yes,
everything, there's a reason.
Yes.
There's an objective,
Yes.
a reason behind everything.
Yes.
When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this, the beauty around us, and these events especially, I am left just in awe thinking, what significance of this am I missing?
Mm.
What am I missing out on? If something happened and there's something might be important about it,
Mm.
and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it on a purpose, maybe we should look at it and say, Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and maybe think about it. It should be a trigger for us to have more introspection, maybe, or maybe
Yes.
it could have a different purpose.
Yes.
Maybe it has different purposes for different people. So it always just amazes me how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things.
Mm.
And it just, you can't, and these are the things I feel like you can't really calculate.
Mm.
You cannot put into quantitative or even qualitative explanations of what is the planning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in having these events
Mm.
at particular times.
Mm.
And why not some other time? Why not something else? Why particularly this? Why particularly this at this time and this place? So it's just amazing. Just amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things.
Like you were saying, it is for us, I think, to introspect, to
Sure.
observe, to ponder
Yeah.
what's going on, and go back to Quran and Sunnah, see what Allah says about us.
Yeah.
You know.
And for those who don't believe or who don't know better, to know better.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Jazakallah khair for sharing.
Oh no.
I'm just trying to imagine what it
Oh.
would be like.
Yes.
It's just beautiful in my imagination how beautiful it would be in person. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, my son yesterday, he was watching some YouTube on tornadoes,
Yes.
Mm.
and around the world, the different area had different type, and so there was one, tsunami really hit Thailand in that, maybe 7-8 years ago, in Malaysia and that area. And in one place in Thailand, right next to the coastal area, there was tornado about 4 different areas same time. You can see the funnel,
Yes.
and they're like maybe a mile apart. And so they captured that shot, in video. And there was in Indonesia heavy rainfall, but it's just about 10 square feet area. That's the only area it's raining, nowhere else. So there must be a purpose. Allah has a plan, and it's just amazing.
Yes.
That,
It was that risk for that area.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time they're calling for snowstorm, this and that, and they mentioned Columbia area, meaning Columbia, Maryland. Okay, it was pinpointed like that. This is the focus. And I remember coming out of Dar al-Taqwa, and the snow so much coming down, and then it is gone. Now, the news, yeah, it's gone, it's going so forth, west or east or whatever. And then They said the snow's coming back. And it came back in the same area again. Okay? And it poured double what it poured before, and then left. You know, okay? Explain that, take that. You know? But it was amazing because the news was talking about it. You understand? They were saying, what's going on, and why is this particular area, and so forth. And I happened to be in that particular area at that time. I see that experience, you know. And you say, Alhamdulillah.
Sheikh, the knowledge Harun had, is that corruption?
Corruption?
Yes. He was boasting that, I mean, maybe he did not say that he's so corrupt, he can make the money, like the Haruns of nowadays are the same. They have so much wealth accumulated. They are boasting that we did this way or that way. There is one politician, he cannot eat but salad, cucumbers, things like that. He had a party at his home, and all the food, dishes, whatever, but his servants brought him a special plate which was salad. And he said, I cannot eat anything but this. My stomach will not take it, I cannot digest.
Mhm.
And he chartered a plane and filled the plane with
So that is
$2 and flew out of the country.
mm,
So these people like Harun, they don't know they're going to die,
yeah.
or how much wealth do they have or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like you said that somebody has a mountain of gold, will say, I need another mountain. So the people are saying, way. I mean, regardless how much do they have.
Mm.
One person calculated, he said that, what is a billion? If you have a billion, he said that it is that so many decades, if you keep spending 38,000, I think every day or something, it will not finish.
Yes, but you never know how that feels until you have it.
And people have hundreds of billions of dollars.
That's right, that's right. We're thinking about it now in a point of poverty that we do not have it. But once you have it,
Yeah.
what is your attitude about it is going to be different. This is an advice of my father, may Allah bless his soul, he gave me. Yeah, he was here in the 80s, and it was in the news was there. And I was translating to him, and there was somebody who was in the news selling an inside information in the stock market and got caught. And he's going to jail, and it was for $10 million, right? At that time, $10 million was a lot of money. And he was worth $80 million, right? The man had $80 million. And he took a chance of selling inside information for this for $10 million. Why would you do that, right? So I was asking my father, I said, look, my father, this is what happened. What is the difference between having, 80 millions and 90 millions? He said, son, you'll never know until you have 80 million. You might, thinking about the same thing at that time. Yeah? SubhanAllah.
So the money that one owes has an impact on someone's thinking. Is that probably what it is? If you may probably lead him, billah, to a way that is not pleasing to Allah.
الشيطان يعدكم الفقر
Yes.
okay? ويأمركم بالفحشاء.
Yes.
So no, does not matter how rich you are, but the shaitan promises you poverty.
Poverty. Yes.
Okay?
You never have enough.
Exactly. Be careful.
Yes.
All of this will go away.
Yes.
Okay? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Qarun, okay, how wealthy he is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described him with how he keeps his wealth in safes and has keys and hiring people to carry these keys.
Like a big log, multiple people have to carry. Subhanallah. Brute force security. I like it though. I like the idea. It's very secure. Hacker safe.
Yeah.
You need a crane to lift it. That's it. No hacker can hack into it.
SubhanAllah. Or somebody opens under it. Something opens under
Yeah,
it.
but I guess it's mobile, so it's probably moving it somehow. No, I guess not. It's too heavy.
Okay, I think it is time, right?
55 seconds.
Oh,
5 seconds.
okay. Alhamdulillah. Brother Hamid, how are you? How do you feel? So, did you move the new place yet?
Next Saturday, inshallah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
So I won't be coming next Saturday.
Oh,
No,
because the
we'll
move.
come early.
I see, I see. Khair, inshallah. Khair, inshallah.
We hope and pray that you move safely,
Yes.
and you're safe, your belongings are safe, and you are safe as well.
No.
You think you are safe.
Well, hopefully. We may go out, right?
I don't mean you, I mean
Us, yes.
the.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت